What happened to Thomas and Dana? Backstory in our image. Metatron.
Wow, you're obsessed with this Thomas Hankins guy. Now, why are we at his house again?
Halel, the Satan.
I thought you would want to have a little fun. I overheard his grand dirt child say to himself that he was going to ask his dirt prophet, grandfather, what happened between him and his grandmother.
Metatron.
But you already know. You caused that ex-wife of his to find those documents.
Halel. Shh.
Learn to enjoy the freedom of evil, my less enlightened friend.
The last day's prophet to America, Thomas Hankins, and his grandson, Tom, sat on the peach tree in his yard. Tom had just turned 9 years of age. He had heard stories about his grandfather and grandmother breaking up, but never understood it. He could hardly remember his grandmother. He vaguely remembers her being upset with his grandfather. So being inquisitive, he began to ask questions. Tom.
Grandpa, why are you and Grandma not together anymore?
Thomas.
Interesting question, Tom. Do you remember much about your grandmother?
Tom.
No, all I remember is that she seems to always be angry with you for some reason.
Thomas turns and looks at him.
That is not exactly true, Tom.
Tom.
Well, Mom says that you don't think so straight when it comes to Grandma. She says you are still in love with her, but that Grandma was in the wrong.
Thomas sighs.
Sounds like your mom has told you her version of what has happened. Your mom is deeply affected because your grandmother left before your mom was prepared for it.
Thomas continues.
But maybe she's the best person to complete the story, as she understands it. I will just say it was all a misunderstanding. But it was something real and to be concerned about. She did not just leave because she did not care about anyone.
At that time, a woman named Karen, whose mother had been sick for weeks, found this man she had heard a lot about. She came around the house and saw him. An older, muscular guy sitting on the peach tree as she saw in a dream. She immediately cried out,
Mr. Thomas, I need you. My mom is dying with cancer. I saw you in a dream, sitting under this peach tree. In the dream I said to you, let Gina explain to Tom. But you come with me.
Thomas turns to Tom.
Go inside and get the rest of your answers from Gina. I must go with this young lady.
And he arose and left with Karen. Tom ran into the house and told Gina about everything that happened outside. Halel, annoyed.
Foiled again. I wanted to see him squirm. I'm leaving. Nothing here to see.
Metatron.
But the dirt child's mom is going to tell him what happened.
Halel.
Yeah. Who cares what a woman full of pain and near hatred toward her mom will say? The child will accept anything, and I have already destroyed her well-being toward her mom. Let's go. Another day, another demon.
Gina.
Well, I really don't like talking about it, but since you put it that way, I think I'd better do it. Tom, you remember how we read in the Bible how after creation, sisters married brothers, and for a long time afterwards, in many lands, rulers would marry their close relatives as to keep the power and wealth in their families. Even Abraham married his half-sister.
Tom.
Yeah, Mom. I remember all of that and how it can cause some people to be born with birth defects, like Calvin. You know, he had before Grandpa healed him. So did the children of Adam and Eve have a lot of birth defects?
Gina.
The way I see it, it was Jehovah, God's responsibility, to make sure there were good births, up and until he told men to take that responsibility.
Tom.
So Adam and Eve children had no birth defects because of marrying in the family? But now people do because they have been told, right? But what does this have to do with Grandma and Grandpa?
Gina.
Your grandpa and grandma found out they were first cousins. They were checking on ancestry records. Mom figured it out first but said nothing immediately. Then she almost walked in a room where your grandpa and his friend Jake Talbot were talking. She overheard him speaking about this subject.
Jake Talbot. Okay, I came quickly. I heard something in your voice. Tell me, what is distressing you? Thomas.
I found out that me and Dana are first cousins. I also see that she has made notes in these documents and had not told me. You are aware of the fact that the Bible let us know that first cousins should not marry, right?
Gina.
Mom turned about upon hearing that. She freaked out and left quickly in tears. No searching did any good. She did not want to be found. Your grandma was sure that your grandpa, with whom she studied the Bible with daily, would leave her. She could not stand the idea of him divorcing her, so she ran off. About a year later, he received divorce papers.
Tom.
Oh, that is a hard thing. Did Grandpa agree with all this?
Gina.
He signed the divorce papers, but not because of that. He signed them because she had changed and blamed God for everything, and had totally changed her way of life. She had gotten also involved into the occult.
Tom.
Hold on, time out. Grandpa wanted to stay married even if she was a first cousin?
Gina.
Well, they had me to think about, and I was so blessed. Look how fine I am now.
Tom laughed.
You look great, Mom. That is why Dad married you.
Gina.
Ha ha ha. Boy, you so funny.
Tom.
But you would not be saying this if they had found out that they were sister and brother, would you? So maybe Grandma was right?
Gina.
That's different. It would be considered a scandal and not something you'd want to make people think was okay. Besides, if they were siblings, they would likely have known it.
Tom.
What does that mean? Siblings.
Gina.
If they'd been sister and brother, they would likely or should have known it.
Tom.
But what if they were separated from each other and raised on two sides of the world?
Gina sighs. Gina.
Boy, please. Stuff like that is not likely to happen.
Tom.
But what if it had?
Gina.
Then I say she would have been right. It's better to lose in this world and not infringe on the way of God or become a bad example.
Tom.
But Grandpa and Grandma would not have been a bad example if they stayed together? Why?
Gina.
People make mistakes and marry cousins quite a bit. No one thinks much of it. The greater evil would have been to break up the family, which is what Mom did. Can you see that?
Tom.
Yes, but after your explanation, I do not know why you seem so angry with Grandma.
Gina.
Do you remember her, Tom?
Tom.
Hardly anything. I remember her being mad at Grandpa.
Gina.
Well, she faked me out. I thought she was the greatest person in the world. I thought she was much greater than your grandpa. She left and did not contact us for nearly a year. Your grandpa did everything after that.
Tom.
I heard you say that you were 17, and I bet she knew Grandpa would look after you.
Gina.
There was no excuse, even in divorce, for her to totally abandon her daughter.
Tom.
Mom, you have tears in your eyes. I'm sorry. I think she was kind of crazy. She had to be to leave you without a mom. If you and Dad broke up, you would not do that to me, would you?
Gina.
I would. die before I would leave you or your grandpa in any bad situation.
Tom.
Hey, Mom, I bet Grandpa heals that woman of cancer. What do you think?
Gina.
Tom, you're such a smart and loving child, changing the subject for me, but if it's the will of God, I'm sure he will. I have seen nothing like your grandpa. I'm thinking we must be in the last days, and we'll need more of the gifts of the Spirit to keep the people of God healthy during the tribulation.